everybody. It is Candy at Gamer Social Club. We are here at Pax East, and I just had the pleasure of being awful at playing Michael Myers in the upcoming Halloween game, but that's okay because it was a ton of fun. And I am joined today by one of the people that worked on bringing this game to you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Jordan Mathewson. I'm the design director at Illfonic.
So this game has been amazing to try out, and I've been following it for quite a bit. So what was it like to be able to step in and be part of the team that is bringing Mike Myers into his own game and really staying true to the feel of the movies, because it's such a huge series?
Yeah. Oh, it's been incredible. Like, to have access and to be able to work with one of the most notable IPs out there, and definitely the biggest horror icon anywhere, is just, it's such an honor. It has such a legacy. And we are very focused on the first movie, the 1978 classic, which is just, it's so timeless that it was just a dream come true to be given access to translate that into our video game. So it was, something where we had ideas around what we could do with it. And anytime we're approaching an IP and trying to translate it into something that players are engaging with, it's about really looking at what you have access to, and what the capabilities of the killer are in this sense. So, but it also goes into the location, and it's such a big part of it. We all know it's Haddonfield, Illinois. The movie was in California, so we do have the nods to kind of make sure you recognize that we're recreating that. But at the same time, it's very focused on its autumn, it's that Halloween, feeling in the middle of Illinois somewhere. Recreating that soft, just nice neighborhood is the perfect juxtaposition of that violent, vicious killer that steps in and doesn't do anything but breathe loudly and stalk and kill people. So it's been amazing.
I mean, maybe if you're me playing the game, you're just breathing loudly and stalking people. But what was really cool in the demo that I got to play too was it's not just walk around and try to stab people, right? There was also the added components of cut the phone line so they can't call the police, and turn the lighting off so that way you can shape form around more. So what was that like, putting in those intricacies? Because obviously there are other games out there that are killer versus civilians or survivors or whatever term you want to use, right? So to make this different, you've added those pieces, and how important was that in the process? What pieces were you like, yes, we absolutely need this?
There's a lot we've learned because we've done this a lot. The asymmetrical genre is still very new and fresh, in my opinion, and I feel there's so much more to explore. And having the opportunity to do an online multiplayer game gives you this wonderful amount of replayability and expansive types of scenarios that come just from the players interacting and engaging. The social component and the proximity chat and those types of things are very crucial to that experience. So we wanted to make sure that playing as a multiplayer game was very solid, and then you had access to everything you need to make sure those encounters and those playthroughs are different each time. So that's a big portion. But when we're looking at Michael, one, he needs to be terrifying and powerful, and it shouldn't be something where you're encountering him and you feel like, oh, I have a good chance of making it out of this. It should always be, I might be able to do this if I play my cards right and do these certain things, even if you have a gun in your hand, because he can't be killed. So we wanted to make him indestructible. We wanted to make sure that when he did get knocked down, he got up stronger, he got up more intimidating, and he needed to walk everywhere, because that's part of that. The mind games of what Michael Myers is he's walking everywhere, and that intimidation factor with the loud breathing and the mask, his stalking ability, being able to go inside and stare people down and basically make them more vulnerable to your attacks and your grabbing and executions, really builds into making it feel like as the civilian players, you're truly being stalked.
Yeah.
And if you catch that, you could encounter him early and catch him looking at you through a window, and now you're going to do something completely different because you're being hunted. But sometimes if he's really good and stealthy, you don't know until the last second that he's on you, and then the chance of you getting out lowers the more and more he stalks you, and the less and less time you have to react as a result of that. So it's been really fun playing with those dynamics, and then also building all of our features in a way that allows the multiplayer community to still find things but not be able to push them too far in any favor. Like there's a lot of work that was done to really revamp how we approach a lot of those systems, so that when we were thinking about these encounters, they're not instantly over, or they don't drag on too long. They kind of find that nice little balance that then the player is either going to die in a certain situation or start leading into a chase. And that way there's kind of those outs that happen based on what you're finding in the map as the players and how you approach the situation. So it's been really enjoyable just bringing all that together and creating something that then also mixes in such a organics jump scare formula factory. Basically is like this is a sandbox that gives Michael, the player, the power to orchestrate different jump scares, and seeing him walking, and then your mind doesn't connect the fact that he would be anywhere else but just still there because he's just walking slowly. But when you look back and he's not, and then he's 30 feet to the right, it shocks you. It shocks the system in a natural way that we didn't really expect to be as visceral as it is, but it's fantastic once you start getting in and playing a lot more. You have a demo experience here that's a lot quicker, and there's not a lot to really get into. But over time, as players get into it and start to see the depth and the nuance, it really shows how effective you can be, which creates that powerful inevitability of death versus something that feels approachable when you start getting the right weapons and the right crew together.
And I think that's also very key, because you mentioned the crew and the weapons, right? In this game, the civilians, or the survivors, the crew that's being played as in the multiplayer, they can fight back, right? And I did have that experience, which was really interesting, because I'm playing as Michael and I'm trying to catch everybody, and it's also the audio lines that are coming from the survivors who are fighting back, right? Where they're like, there he is, get him, and that sort of atmosphere that really does feel like this is not just me being overpowered as Michael because I'm Michael Myers, right? There is that feeling, and that there was a good group of teamwork out there. So again, I did not do well as Michael, but in that thinking of like, okay, we're going to give the other players a chance to fight back. Like, what was that like in deciding how they fight back, and how they even call the cops and bring them in, because that was a whole different element that's brought into this that feels really good, because it doesn't keep the killer too overpowered.
Yep. That's the balance of asymmetry. It's always so challenging to do, because you're making two different games anytime you approach something like this. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure everything feels fun, and you want to make sure it feels fair. And the nature of an asymmetrical game is some situations might not feel that way. But when you start to look at it, I could have done this, we don't want to put it on anything other than your choices. So a lot of what we were trying to do with the civilian side is there needs to be that vulnerability. Like, you need to feel vulnerable and scared and worried about the next corner I turn. If he's standing there and I don't have anything, I can only run. I can only try and run or shove him away or try and do something. So it's about making sure that each encounter, they still have the capability to attack and fight back. And if you find certain weapons, we have one-handed things, we have two-handed things for more damage, but you're committing to longer attacks and leaving yourself open.
I saw a pitchfork.
Exactly, a pitchfork. You can throw the pitchfork, which is really fun, along with other throwable weapons. So wanted to, once again, kind of tune into the sandbox approach to kind of give you the tools to then decide how you want to approach the different things that are happening. So as the environment becomes more known to you and you understand the lay of the land and kind of where generally you need to be going, you start to learn that. But ultimately the randomization that takes place with the gameplay object makes sure that you're never able to see the same things twice. So it led a lot to giving them that agency to fight back. But in the end, like I had mentioned earlier, there's a chance you're going to get out of that, but it's never a guarantee, because it is Michael Myers, and he is more determined than you at making sure that these killings happen. So but like I said, it's dangerous, challenging, and something that is not easily done without a lot of play testing and time, and people that care about the genre and the type of game to know and look back at previous games and previous titles in our playbook and know what struggled and what really didn't feel great when people started to realize the formulas. So we've really built a lot of our features to allow that to happen without going too far in either direction, but then also giving us the ability to react and respond to the online presence of everyone that we know are going to go way farther than any of us ever could think to dream would ever happen with this, which is fun because multiplayer is challenging that way, but it's so much more rewarding when you get it right.
I totally agreed. I play a lot of multiplayer, and it's a lot of fun, and I love it, and I love that as I was standing out there and watching other people play before I dove in, I got to see people legitimately jump.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And one girl audibly was like, "Oh my god!" Right? How satisfying is that reaction when you just have groups of people that are maybe known to each other, maybe not known to each other, and that's what you're seeing on, and a demo, right? A demo is not the finished product, and you're already getting that reaction. What's that like?
Oh, I mean, that just shows that we were on the right path with what we chose. So it's very satisfying to see that. And before we even came here, it was funny because within our internal play test and, sharing with any partners that we work with, when they're seeing people jump in those situations and like demonstrations and things started to show that what we had developed out of this dynamic of shape jump and just it combines so well with the just unsettling look of Michael and making sure that we built that model because that mask from the first movie is so iconically unsettling and uncanny that just seeing it in a dark room is so it just catches you off guard. And then kind of what I was saying with the shape jump is being able to appear in those different places and orchestrate those moments becomes so much more effective. So to see it in action, and even in this scenario when not everyone is fully understanding everything, but still it's happening, and even Michaels that don't fully understand everything are still causing it because it's just the fact that they're in one place and then they're in another. And it's going to get so much crazier when people start to really master how you are Michael and how you orchestrate that, and then leveraging different mechanics to make those moments even more crazy and impactful, and having stuff like VoIP on at the same time. And it's just going to make for some incredible moments. And especially now we're seeing it actually happen in person, it's very exciting.
And now for players who maybe haven't, played a game like this before, what's the one thing that they should know before diving in, be it as a civilian or as Michael Myers?
I mean, stealth is key in a lot of situations. As a civilian, when you're starting out, you want to lay low and avoid making too much noise until you're finding things that give you that direction, because you're looking for escapes, you're looking for ways out, you're looking for defensive mechanisms like that. Those are the stuff that you want to start slow, make sure you're getting those things to prepare yourself, and then from there you're able to kind of adjust and do what's needed for the match as it unfolds. Michael's side, same way. Stealth is very helpful in stalking. You need to stalk to make sure that those targets are easiest to grab and they take the most damage from you, and they're opening up these different executions. So staying low and quiet to make those attempts is going to give you the best outcome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for answering our 5 quick questions on the game. The game is due out later this year, September 8th. September 8th. I want to make sure I don't mess that up. And it's going to be on many consoles.
PS5, Xbox XS, and Steam. So
I will definitely be playing on Steam.
Awesome. Yeah.
So thank you again so much for this. And make sure that you keep checking out Gamer Social Club. We're going to keep you up to date on this game as we have, and we'll catch you next time.